Good morning. Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? And it is a fine day because it's my last for 2.5 weeks. I hope you don't miss me too much. Yeah. Just very quickly, while the chat is filling up, I'm doing today's show, heading on up to Derbyshire, and I'm off for 2.5 weeks. Sorry, that's the way it is. There will be a show tomorrow, although I won't be here for it. It's pre-recorded. It's all about the JCB Hydromax, which is going great guns over at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. Mark Whiting is here for the final show for a little while. Jim Turner is here as well. Morning, Jim. And Gary Muirhead is here as well. Yeah, we're not too far away now. Another hour and a bit, I guess, and then I'll be heading off up to Derbyshire. Wedding. Back, pack up the bags, off to the airport, and that's it. I'm done. And I was been toying with the idea of actually taking a laptop with me, but I'm not going to. I will be incommunicado via that, obviously, but no, not taking a laptop with me. Couldn't miss the last show for a while. Thank you very much indeed, Gary. I was planning to myself, actually, but then I thought, no, I better be here just to remind everyone what I look like. Incidentally, and I don't want to come across as vain here. I mean, obviously I am, but I don't want to come across as vain. I was looking for something on the YouTube channel last night, and I ended up watching a show that we did about maybe 18 months or so ago. And it was one of those shows where there was no video. I won't bore you with the details, but there's no video. And two things. First of all, the show looked and sounded really good. As I say, I'm not bragging, I do stumble over my words, but I press the wrong buttons. I'm not perfect by any means, but it was a really good show. And the other thing that it reminded me was we used to have music playing in the background for parts of this show. And I don't know why we ever stopped it. So yeah, if I remember, I may actually do it when we get to the end of the show chat. But yeah, look out for that. Morning, all you pin snappers. If you know, you know. Well, sadly, I do know. I know only too well. Yes, so final show for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm literally looking forward to recharging the batteries. It's one of those weird things. I feel absolutely fine. I'm probably fitter and healthier now than I have been in, I don't know, 8-9 years, I would imagine. Feeling fighting fit, feeling on really good form. But my body's just realised that I'm going to put my feet up for 2 weeks, and it's just gone, oh, do you know what? You really need that. I'm really starting to feel like I could just do with a couple of weeks, sat with a book in my hand and pina colada in the other hand, although I won't be drinking pina coladas. Just put my feet up and watch the world literally go by while I'm on my ship. So looking forward to it. Obviously going to miss you guys because, you do improve my morning every day. But 2.5 weeks. It's not that big a deal out of 6.5 years. Mercy Johnson saying, Jambo to you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed for being here for the final show for a little while. We've got a packed show for you again today. I really should stop saying that because it happens every day. But we do have a packed show for you today. We've got a couple of exclusive films that you've probably not seen before. Gary Muirhead is suggesting mocktails. Yeah, it's possible. The one thing I realise this is kind of a niche interest of mine, but because a lot of the cruise ships, including the one that I'm going on, are American owned. Guess what they have behind most of the bars on the ship? They have root beer. Listen, being surrounded by bikini-clad women glistening in the sunshine, that's a fun thing. Waking up in a different destination, that's good. The Sun Princess is an astonishing ship, that's good. But having root beer on tap, yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Really doesn't. What a sad individual I am. Dan Cullen just bursts through the doors and says, good morning, all you muck heap engineers, plant porn addicts, seat warmers, grease monkeys, hydraulic lever pullers, and fartaholics alike. Dan, by the time I get back, I reckon your good morning will be about war and peace length. Good morning to you. Stephen Edwards says, morning all, just back from a work visit to the Nordic countries last week before my holiday starts. Heading to Cornwall next week, Paul. You and I might pass along the way, Stephen, because I'm going the other way. On Thursday morning, I'm off to Italy to pick up my ship. That's what's happening then. Just very quickly, by the way, I do need to do this, although obviously I haven't seen him in the chat, but I do want to say good morning to Mr. Ed Butler, late of this parish. It's his birthday today, so many happy returns, Dan. Ed, rather. Morning. Oh, hang on a minute. Let's just get rid of. I can't switch it off. Go away. Morning, all. Just back from work. No, we've done that one. Jim Turner was the one I was after. Isn't it funny how people are different? If I had to read a book, it would tire me out. Listen. I can't say it doesn't tire me out. I mean, I used to be able to sit down and read a book. I mean, literally cover to cover. There are books that I've literally devoured in 1 or 2 sittings. Can't do that anymore. I do a couple of chapters and I can feel the old eyelids going, but that's part of the fun. But my daughter has bought me a book just because she thought I'd enjoy it, and that's in the bag already. So I'm taking that with me and go and have a good look at that. Does root beer give you wood? Says Chris Ford. Chris, I'm 61 years old. A young bloke and a set of jump leads wouldn't do that. But thank you for the question. Happy birthday, Ed, as well. Dan Cullen, wish you and Ruth a fantastic holiday. Enjoy. Thank you very much indeed. Have an absolutely fantastic and relaxing time. Mark and Ruth, I will certainly try. Thank you very much. So, shall we crack on? Right, we've waffled on for plenty long enough. I'm going to roll that intro for the final time for a little while and get this show on the road. Ken Hatcher has just joined us from Welsh Wales, where it's gloriously sunny. I don't know what the temperature is today here. I don't know what the temperature is like in Wales. I don't know what it's like up in the Shetlands, but I can tell you that by the time I touch down in Rome, around about 35, 36 degrees, which is a bit warm. I'm taking water. Don't worry. No more medical emergencies for me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 11th of August. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the Walrus of Demolition, the Lord High Chancellor of live streaming, the authentic voice of the global demolition industry. And in today's show, I'd like to introduce you to the new Kubota skid steer loaders. Sany goes Belgian, but without the waffle. How to set up an autonomous mine, Volvo-style, and how technology is perfecting mine blasting operations. And the last 2 films of the day, which I said, the autonomous mine and the mine blasting, very technology based, which leads perfectly into our final morning monologue for a little while, and that is called The Last Industrial Revolution. Are we staring down the barrel of the last industrial revolution? Chris Ford says, I'm 67 and still firing on all cylinders, as far as I know. Can't wait until 69. Wow. Here. What more can I say? Dan says, Ken, did you hear the bang last week? HDC done a blast in Newport last week. Did you hear it? Did you hear the big bang, Ken? We'd like to know. Right, I'm going to have a bit of Caterpillar, and then we're kicking straight off with the new Kubota skid steers after this. Gary Muirhead says, Chris, 69 is where all the fun starts. I seem to remember it's like the lights go out and I start to feel claustrophobic, but that's just me. It's just me. Ken Hatcher says, no, he didn't hear the big bang. Hey ho. Now, those of us here in the UK, I think we think of Kubota, well, depending on your leanings, you think of Kubota either as a mini excavator manufacturer or possibly as a tractor manufacturer. They do both, but they also do something else. Elsewhere in the world, they are quite well known as a skid steer manufacturer.
Meet the new Kubota SVL 110-3, our most powerful compact track loader yet, engineered for exceptional performance on the toughest ground. The SVL 110-3 is equipped with a powerful 112 horsepower Kubota engine with 279 foot-pounds of torque. The power and torque will help you clear land, push material, and run high-flow attachments. Not only does it have the horsepower and torque for those tough applications, it's also equipped with 45 gallons per minute of hydraulic auxiliary flow to chew through trees, brush, or concrete with appropriate attachment for the application. To keep you productive and efficient, operators can pre-program up to 20 different attachments. Therefore, you have the correct flow for maximum productivity. In those tough conditions, going through thick brush or breaking up concrete, the SVL 110-3 is equipped with an auxiliary performance system. It monitors the auxiliary hydraulic system to maintain the flow at optimal performance for mulching trees, breaking up concrete, or other applications that have heavy demand on the compact track loader and attachment. Productivity is key on every job site. That is why the SVL 110-3 comes standard with Kubota Shockless Ride. This prevents material loss over rough terrains and at the same time makes it more comfortable for the operator. Auto shift is another feature that maximizes the operator's productivity. The SVL 110-3 automatically downshifts when loaded up, going into a pile of material or turning for maximum traction. Once going in a straight line, it automatically upshifts to full speed to travel across any job site quickly. Along with auto shift, the SVL 110-3 has track response settings to match the conditions you are working in. In snow removal, you are working in slippery conditions. Adjust to mild mode to prevent tracks from spinning. Spinning tracks make for a non-productive compact track loader. Or if you're working in dry, large areas, you always need maximum response. Adjust to quick setting. Long days feel shorter in the sealed pressurized cab, designed to keep out dust and cut noise down to 79 decibels, so you can stay focused. The roll-up front door and three-point access make getting in and out easy, no matter what attachment is on the front. A standard 7-inch LCD monitor puts machine data and settings at your fingertips, and a factory rear-view camera helps you back up with confidence. Settle into the heated air ride seat, stream audio with Bluetooth, and count on LED work lights with delayed shutoff to guide you off the site when the day is done. Maintaining the SVL 110-3 is key to reducing downtime, and Kubota has delivered to make it easy. With toolless swing-out radiator, you have full access to all maintenance items and easy cleaning. Cleanouts in the bottom of the chassis have been enlarged for easy debris clearing, and they have been added by the loader arms to remove debris. Kubota offers over 40 attachments, and some of these attachments require precision control. The SVL 110-3 is equipped with creep mode to operate full stroke of the joystick at low speed, to run a cold planer, trencher, mulcher, brush cutter, or snowblower. Creep mode helps with operator fatigue while performing an optimal job removing materials. The SVL 110-3 has 50 different settings, therefore you can manage your speed for best performance. Stay connected with WorkSmart Telematics, which comes standard on the SVL 110-3. Check hours, fuel, location, temperatures, and maintenance reminders from your devices, so you're always one step ahead. When the job fights back, you don't slow down. You break new ground. Do it in the new Kubota SVL 110-3.
I just realised I've turned the mic off. Let's go back a bit, shall we? I don't know how I managed to turn that off, but let's go back. Where were we? Yeah, people saying you can't hear me. Yes, I know. I must have nudged it. I can only apologise. Yes, I know. Let's go back. Chris Ford says this: has anyone seen a Kubota skid steer in the UK? Yes, Simon Tomlin's just had one on demo. Lovely smooth controls, just hard work entering and exiting through the front screen. I was saying to myself, because I turned the mic off, it feels like an old design feature, that. The sort of thing, if your grandfather or your father described the way that you used to get into a skid steer, you had to climb over the bucket and reverse your backside in, you'd think, oh, glad we changed that. And yeah, here we are. The market-leading brand, Bobcat, still have to go in that way. You'd have thought by now we'd have come up with a better solution to that. I know is it the JCB? You go in through the side door? I think you do. Let me go back here. Dan Cullen is watching on his new S11 Samsung tablet, and apparently the quality is amazing. He also says something else about the I'm sure he said something about the sound, but I can't see it there. Don't know where that's gone. You don't think of Kubota when you think of skid steers. Bobcat is the king of the market. They absolutely are. Ken Hatcher would like a ride as smooth as that. And there we are. There's Dan's comment. Well worth the 1,500 quid he paid for it, and the sound is crisp too. 1,500 quid for a Samsung tablet. That sounds like a lot. Is that one of the pro ones? I think maybe it may be. Let's have a look. Yvonne Waterman, Dr. Yvonne Waterman, has just arrived and says, good morning, Mark. Back again. I've been working myself silly on the upcoming conferences in Birmingham and Lviv, is that right? Lviv, as well as the magazine. Well, glad to hear. Keep me posted, certainly on the Birmingham one. Yvonne, I've got that booked into my diary. I intend to be there, but keep me posted. Chris Ford said, last time I had a new tablet, it took 3 months to get over the side effects. And no, it wasn't the blue one. Can I just very quickly, Dan says it's the Ultra S. Yes, that is one of the pro ones. Very quickly. I was on a jolly once, industry related. I was on a jolly, and my wife was there, and we were all laughing and joking and made mention of bedroom activities. And I said something like, oh, I'd rather have a cup of tea, just banter, just for a laugh. Anyway, went off, did a few bits and pieces here and there, came back down and walked into the bar, and one of the guys who I'd already seen that day walked up and shook me by the hand and winked. I thought, slightly odd behaviour. When I looked, he had pressed into my hand a pack of Viagra. He'd taken my grumbles about the bedroom entirely seriously and had decided to help a brother out. I gave them back because I'm okay, but thank you for that. You know who you are. Good morning, Yvonne, and me too on Birmingham, please, says Dan. Ken Hatcher, are you going to Cat Desford on 22nd of September? Demo day. I am not. That's one of the bits of Caterpillar that don't speak to me. That's if there were attachments related, I'd be all over it like a bad soup. But if it's not, I don't suppose I'll even get an invitation to that, which is, their loss. Although Desford is a fantastic visit if anybody's interested in that. Dan, going back to the Kubota skid steer, that's tidy, but is there anything new compared to other brands? Kubota badge on the side. Not much else other than that. So my apologies for the slight silence there. Let's crack on. And I promise not to nudge the microphone again. Let's have a bit of this, and then we're going off to Belgium with Sany.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
Yeah, it's quite weird, actually. We tend to take this show to far-flung destinations. We brought you footage from the States, from Australia, from New Zealand, and some really far-flung destinations out in what Stephen King calls the willywags. But we're going to be a bit closer to home. I don't honestly remember ever actually featuring a film from Belgium. Well, let's put that right with Sany.
I am Patrick Derdale. I'm the founder of the company Derdale Group. We have a lot of companies, 20 companies, and one of this company is Derdale Plus, where we make industrial buildings. The action you're seeing now is place in Lommel, where we're making a new building. This is a ground of 80 hectares, and we're using this machine, the Sany 305. It's like 32 tons. We put like 30,000 cube of sand with it for making everything ready for this place. This is a perfect machine to do this kind of work because we have a lot of sand to move, and it's going very good. Terramex is a friend of me and a customer of me, and he introduced this machine for us. And at first I was a little bit thinking we didn't know the kind of machine, and then we tried the machine on an expo that we did at this place, and then I ordered the first machine. After I buy one machine, we already buy all of the types of it. The 2.5 ton, 3.5 ton, 5 ton, 6 ton, the 26 ton and the 30 tons. So now in the company we have 6 machines of this type and this mark. And till now we are already working more than 2,000 hours with this machine, and we are happy. In our company we need a lot of machines, so every time it's something different. For the kind of work that we are doing, is this machine perfect? We didn't ask some extra options because we don't need it. It's perfect to work with the Sany. For the service we can contact the Sany dealer very easy. For every small detail we can call them, and they're doing a good job in service. For sure I can recommend Sany. We are happy with the machine, we have no problems with the machine, price is good, so we are happy.
Very good. Bloke spoke very good English as well. Those in the Benelux, I was actually speaking to Al Grierson this morning, funnily enough. Those in the Benelux countries do seem to have that ability. I guess if you're living where you could be speaking French or Dutch or Flemish, I guess you kind of hover, and maybe English comes naturally as well. I don't know, but always envious of their language abilities. We're talking autonomous mines in just a moment after this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
I assume we're talking about the blue pills, Chris. And the answer to the question is, I don't know. And frankly, given my family setup, wouldn't want to know. Just saying. Good morning from Wakefield. Good morning, Mick. Excuse me. Thank you for joining us for our final show for a little while. Dan says, Sany, great video, but a very standard machine. Sometimes that's all you need. Their technology is a bit slow, he says. Watch this space. Yeah, the Chinese are coming, people, whether you like it or not. As to is autonomy. Got about 5 minutes now of how to set up. Should you wake up one morning and think, do you know what I really fancy doing this today? I'm going to set myself up an autonomous mine. Well, this is how you do it if you're Volvo.
Garpenberg is a very exceptional site because it is extremely important that the productivity is high always, but they are also so willing to take the next step in the technology and innovation. And those two combined, that is what makes Garpenberg so special.
It's a quite complex project to do with automation. Typically you'd like to go with automation, like to go from a fixed point A to a fixed point B. Here we load in the quarry, so that's dynamic because we consume the material, there are new blasts, so we have to constantly adapt to that.
Before deployment to a new site like Garpenberg, we carry out a thorough assessment, define the operational setup, and prepare the site infrastructure needed for autonomous operation. We look at opportunity from 3 connected perspectives: technical, operational and commercial. Technically, we assess what is needed for the system to function safely and reliably. Operationally, we look at how the solution will work in practice and how flows can be optimized. Commercially, we define how the solution should be packaged and delivered based on the customer's production requirements. From there, we move into real-world mapping. It is a critical step to set up the autonomous route, and if loading and unloading is dynamic, like in the Gartenberg project, the map needs to reflect real conditions and be updated in real time to match the site's needs.
So, behind setting up a new site is some pre-work. We would designate a spot. This is the general area, a geo-fenced area, where we can drive the truck. We would also create new LiDAR maps, so that is for NDT navigation. Basically, it's a reference between what the physical sensors on the vehicle see and what we have in the environment. We would also set up low-speed zoning, which also set up different vehicles that would be connected to it, and also connect our high-integrity safety system to the site control system. We connect all of our vehicles, all of our support vehicles, and then we would also do some site-specific configurations. We start the validation work in our software environments, where we start from virtual testing. That moves on to our test track facilities, where we would run the same software over and over again to gain stability records, understand if we have any issues with the software. And then the software is then propagated to the customer site, and we do some final checks here, particularly when we do specific things like removal of safety driver. That comes with a set of validation tests that we would perform, and we do that in controlled manners.
Then we go into operational phase, and that's where we start to move material for real. That's the full operation. It's not a test period. That's where we actually make things happen. Readiness to go live is based on a combination of successful verification and validation activities, operational performance, and safety performance. And of course, the customer readiness. The safety case is progressively matured throughout the deployment and is considered closed once agreed on the operational scope. Risks, mitigations, and acceptance criteria have been verified and approved together with the customer and relevant stakeholders.
It's really important to have a good service and repair setup, and the Volvo dealer network it's a very valuable asset also for us that's doing this autonomous transport.
We do all the service and maintenance on the trucks and the trailers, so they are running for the weeks for the guys up here. They change oils in the engines, fuel filters, and greasing the fifth wheel, so they unhatch the trailer every time they're up here, and then go through the trailer, suspension parts and everything to see that everything is okay.
We work with uptime through a combination of robust product development, data-driven monitoring, and preventive maintenance strategies. For the customer, uptime is not only about machine availability, it is about securing production targets, reducing operational disturbances, improving safety, and enabling better planning of site operations.
It's funny how these things play out. Just had this comment from Mick Norton, who says, why aren't Volvo placing the emphasis on safety as the greatest game with autonomous mining? Zero autonomous fatalities is a real possibility for the future. And as that appeared on my screen, the lady in the video said, focus on safety. You can't make this stuff up. Dan saying, why hasn't Volvo tapped the market for dozers? I will need to ask Volvo that. You'd think they would have done by now, really, wouldn't you? Dan also asked if we played that film before. They'd done a previous film at the same location, but this was like a follow-on. I think the original one was the delivery of the trucks, and now we've actually got how they set it up as well. No, all of those answers are mine. Yeah, okay. So one final film. So hold that thought about autonomy, because we're doing a little bit more kind of remote control as well. All of which plays into today's morning monologue, and I'll be back after this. Yeah, we've had a bit of Volvo technology. Time for a bit of Sandvik technology.
Anyone can be a driller. Anyone can own a drill rig. To be productive with it and run it efficiently is a big difference.
We want to do the most accurate drilling we can, use the best drill consumables that provide the best results, and the Sandviks have been great for that.
Anyone can drill a hole, but not everyone has technology. Our clients want the latest technology.
Our customers have a lot of contractual commitments, so we've got to perform.
Having the support and the backup is very critical. We are very busy at the moment, and we need the drilling to go Sandvik drill rigs. This is one of the best things we've done in quite a while.
Number one for us is quality. The machine's got to be fit for purpose. It's got to do what we want it to do and what the customer requires. It's got to be safe. It's got to be comfortable for our operators. There's a lot more behind the scenes than just buying a drill.
You know, you don't plan breakdowns. Breakdowns happen, and when something breaks down, we need to get the machine going again.
From the rock tools to the machine to the GNSS navigation, the whole system integrates really well.
You've got a seat in here, you can sit behind them and train someone in it. It takes drillers months sometimes to get in and learn how to drill a hole, where it took me 3 holes in this. On this, I can do multiple things, which picks up speed, more meters, it's new, it's fresh. It's the comfortability, how easy it is to use, how easy it is to learn. Now I've drilled on it, I don't really want to get off it.
All the operators love the GPS. It's just a consistent tool that if you're moving the rig within the pattern, you're not worried about running over your mark out. You can attack the shot a lot safer and more methodically than a traditional mark out.
We're not experienced in these machines. If we're not sure, we make a call and there's someone there to work you through it.
We first met up with Jason, Jake and Dan a bit over 2 years ago. Jason expressed that had some interest in looking at what Sandvik could offer. We delivered the first DXI, and since then they've ordered another 4 machines.
The service and backup that Sandvik has within the company, the amount of spare parts that are actually in stock local, the pricing of spare parts is competitive in the market, and the service and backup has been great.
Machines break down, but that's when your supplier shows how good they are when they have parts backup and the people to fix it. That's why these machines tick all the boxes. And these guys do what they say.
Working with the Donnelly boys has just been fantastic. They've embraced the machines, they've embraced the concept of our drill string. They've really gotten on board 100%. It's been a real joint venture on both sides of it. The drill guys through Sandvik have done a fantastic job. The rock tools we've been able to supply and get them here, you know, they've really embraced what we've been trying to do.
Having a workshop in Brisbane and having Sandvik and the team's support has been amazing with commissioning these new drills very rapidly.
The Donnelly boys just jumped all in because we pretty much sold them a dream, and fortunately we were able to back it up with the performance of the tooling.
It's a true partnership. We work together very well.
Take the step. It's worth it.
Good film. Going back to talk about Volvo and dozers. Yes, absolutely. 2 people have remembered this. Volvo acquired Michigan and Euclid, became VME back in the late 80s, early 90s or thereabouts, but VME, and part of that was Hanomag. Hanomag did in fact have dozers, both tracked and wheeled dozers. Chris Ford says that Volvo gained dozer experience when they bought VME, or did become VME for a little while. And there's Mick Norton saying the same. Volvo inherited a dozer association when Euclid and Terex, whose Scottish factory, folded in 1990. Volvo didn't revive the dozer program. Does sound like a bit of a conscious decision from Volvo. They've had 2 looks at the dozer market and decided not to proceed. There you are. And Andy Thornton, back from his holidays. Andy, you're coming in through the indoor just as I'm about to go out the outdoor. But welcome back. And I'm today is my last day for 2.5 weeks. But thank you for joining us and welcome back. And on that subject, that's about it for the main part of today's show. And that's it for the next 2.5 weeks. But I am still going to roll with the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Hope to see you again very soon, round about the 2nd of September. I think. I've not checked, but it's about that. It's a good 2.5 weeks away. So yeah, please keep that in mind. And Chris Ford on the same subject, but VME, Volvo, Michigan, Euclid, the TC12, indeed. Right, morning monologue time, and then it is time for me to love you and leave you for a couple of weeks. So let me press the right button, clear my throat, and make ready. We all know how this plays out. On the 4th of August 1997, Skynet goes online. On the 29th of August 1997, at precisely 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, Skynet becomes self-aware, and so begins Judgment Day. From Westworld to 2001, A Space Odyssey, and on to the movies in the Terminator franchise, the outcome is as predictable as it is terrifying. Machines get too smart, man suffers. But while we've all been scanning the horizons for killer robots from the future that look oddly like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the rise of the machines has been flying under the radar. It's been quietly taking place. It's begun quietly right under our very noses. And while it may not be hell-bent on eradicating man from the face of the planet, at least not yet, there can be no question that the inexorable rise of artificial intelligence and autonomy will have a huge impact upon humanity. In the sphere of demolition and construction equipment, the corporate narrative is one of reassurance. We're told that machine operators displaced by AI and site autonomy will simply upskill, that they will step away from the joysticks and retrain as digital managers, monitoring fleets of self-driving excavators, dozers, crushers, and dump trucks from a distance. Unlikely though that transition is for the vast majority of plant operators, it would surely mark the very beginning of the last industrial revolution, the day when man becomes subservient to machine. We're being sold a comfortable vision of this transition. The narrative suggests that the rise of AI and autonomy will have us all working in neon-lit high-tech control pods with coffee on tap, air conditioning to keep us comfortable, and generous worker perks to keep us focused and loyal. The operator would become the comfortable overseer, sitting back while the machines did the heavy lifting. Instead, we only need to look at the contemporary logistics industry to see the true direction of travel. In warehouse fulfillment centers and delivery networks driven by algorithmic management, the promised digital utopia looks remarkably different. Investigations like the BBC's coverage of warehouse working conditions have exposed environments where workers are constantly tracked by handheld devices, subjected to relentless performance quotas, and timed on every movement down to the second. Out on the road, the pressure of algorithmic scheduling has reached even more extreme lengths. As documented in legal findings in the US against major logistics giants like Amazon, delivery drivers guided by strict tracking software have reported being forced to urinate in bottles simply to avoid penalties for falling behind their prescribed schedules. This presents a terrifying template for the heavy equipment and site environment. The future could easily become a dystopian landscape where an algorithm acts as a relentless, unblinking site foreman, one that penalises plant operators or ground crews for straying a metre from a digital plan or pausing for a necessary break. And the core of this issue lies in a fundamental clash of philosophies. Human nature is to strive for better. AI's nature is to strive for more. An algorithm doesn't suffer from fatigue. It doesn't appreciate the physical reality of demolition and construction, and it doesn't understand context. It calculates optimal mathematical efficiency on a server and expects the physical world to conform. Any human workers downstream of an AI boss will inevitably be driven harder and harder to meet ever more impossible demands and ever more impossible deadlines. And that dynamic introduces a severe, unaddressed risk to job site operations. Safety. Demolition, excuse me. Demolition and heavy construction are inherently hazardous environments. Safety relies on intuition, situational awareness, and the courage to stop the job when something feels wrong. If a worker's primary objective becomes hitting ruthless deadlines to satisfy the demands of an AI overlord, will they have the time, energy, or mental focus left to spot imminent physical dangers? When speed dictated by software overrides human judgment on the ground, accident rates will inevitably climb. From the invention of the wheel through the development of the loom, the printing press, and the motor car, man has built tools to make his life easier and his capacity greater. For thousands of years, every leap in machinery had a simple job: extend human capability and make heavy work survivable. Now we face the very real possibility that man will be conscripted to do the bidding of those machines. If the next phase of site technology turns skilled plant operators and demolition crews into mere cogs in a machine, it fails the basic test of progress. The moment we let software dictate the pace without understanding site reality, safety and human experience get pushed straight to the back of the queue. Man-made machines developed to make life easier could yet make life considerably harder for us all. There you are. Hardly dystopian at all, that. Let's have a bit of music, shall we, in the background. Lovely. There we are. That's my final morning monologue for a wee while. Don't let it give you nightmares. I'm sure we'll all be okay. Probably. What have we got here? Chris Ford. If you're at Grangefields Barn, easy to find if you know. I can send you directions later. I'm not entirely sure where we are, Chris. I've completely forgotten to ask, but we do have full directions. First and foremost, I'm actually going to an Airbnb. Literally Market Square in Ashbourne. So we're going there first and foremost. Hopefully the Thai restaurant close by. I've been there before. Hopefully that will be open tonight. I'll pop in there for a bit of dinner. Nice early night, and then up in the morning, bit of breakfast, and then off to wherever the actual wedding is taking place. But thank you for the offer. Dan Cullen says, what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks without you? The industry will be knackered. Yeah, well, this is a good time. And for those of you that occasionally fall foul of my criticism, if you're going to do anything sketchy or illegal or questionable, do it in the next 2 weeks, because I won't be here to report on it. I mean, I may pick up on it when I get back, but now is a good time to go and do something sketchy. But don't do that. Tucked away in a farm outbuilding near Beverley is a track-mounted Hanomag dozer with a steering wheel connected to steering clutches and brakes. I'd love to see that. Do you know the owner, Mick? Love to see it. Learn something new today. Manufacturers have to make wiring looms out of degradable materials. Did they? Do they? When did that become a thing? I mean, it makes perfect sense, I guess. I think we are taking a bit of a lead from the automotive sector, looking at end of life and all that kind of stuff. So we are considering that fairly carefully. But I didn't realise that had actually become an actual thing in our industry. Interesting stuff. Yeah, going back to the morning monologue, I wonder, Mick mentioned it earlier, this, can I find it? There you are, there's Mick's comment. Why aren't Volvo placing the emphasis on safety as the greatest gain with autonomous mining? Autonomous mining, I think, is a kind of a different field entirely, quite literally a different field. Mines tend to be in the back of beyond, far away from prying eyes. They tend not to have too many people roaming about. Autonomous mines have no people roaming about. You've got people in the workshops, people in the remote station, but by and large, on the ground, actually in the pit, there's not a great deal of human activity. The machines come and go as they please. It's a very controlled environment. The moment you switch that to a quarry, where maybe there'll be a few more people, or more specifically, when you take that into construction and demolition, there will be people. Now, my concern with this is not that the machines themselves will be inherently unsafe, because the machines will do only what they are told. You know, go here, do the thing, come back. Go here, do the thing, come back. That's all they will do. You know, they have no consciousness. They have no freedom of thought. They will do precisely what they are programmed to do, no less and no more. Where my concern arises, I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was focusing very heavily on the Amazon experience. There's been legal cases in America, specifically involving Amazon delivery drivers, who are being penalised for not keeping up with their delivery schedules, to the point where some of them are having to literally pee into plastic bottles and dispose of them when they have the time. And there are silly things written into these programs. Like there was one case that I was listening to where there was a housing complex. We'd call it an estate, I guess, but a housing complex. And a delivery driver was told that he had 3 deliveries to make at this same housing development. He arrived with these 3 parcels at 3 different locations, to find that in actual fact the housing development or the housing estate was about a mile long. If he had got out of his vehicle and tried to walk to the 3 different addresses, he would have fallen behind. So instead, he delivered to the first, then jumped back in his van, drove a bit further, and that triggered the algorithm that was monitoring his progress, and he was penalised for having strayed from the route laid down to him, prescribed by the algorithm. Now think about that in our context. As it stands at the moment, we are increasingly seeing the use of digital plans, GPS, sat-nav, and all the things that go with it. And we're being told that all of that is to avoid overwork and to enhance precision and to make us more effective and more efficient and more productive, all of which fundamentally is true. But it's not a million miles away to then say, okay, here's the digital plan, follow that plan to the letter and all will be well. But if you stray from that plan, all may not be well. You may well be penalised. You may well be sent for additional training. You may be let go. You may be financially penalised. All of the technology to make that thing happen exists today. All we haven't done so far is flick the switch that says, henceforth, it's not just follow the guide, it's follow the instructions, and if you do not, there will be repercussions. And bearing in mind just how ruthless some of the companies in the demolition and construction industry are, is that really beyond the realms of possibility that somebody will say, you know, we've had it with operators sort of making stuff up as they go along or not following instructions, or more specifically, you know, this is a remote site. We don't really want to be sending a site manager or a project manager there every day or every week or every month to check on progress. We will monitor everything remotely, and if they stray from what the prescribed plan says, we will penalise them. Is that really too much to expect? Mick saying have a well-earned break. I will certainly try Mick, but he also says this. It's not the case that with AI of the future equipment we'll have the ability to communicate with each other. Is it not the case? Yes, they will have the ability, and that is already the case. I mean, certainly one of the most impressive ones that I've seen was with XCMG, who in China, because they're legally allowed to do so, in China they have a paver basically laying a road, and that is the communication hub, and then behind it is a dozen independent rollers, all of which are in contact with the paver and all of which are in contact with each other. And they basically, the paver will say, there's a soft spot there, make sure you go over that 3 times. There's a hard spot over there, just hit that once. And all of them are in communication. So yes, there will be communication. And again, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory here, but bearing in mind the monitoring and the communication that is going on, if your job is to sit in a control pod, just watching machines, making sure they're doing as they're supposed to be doing, and you decide, I need a pee, I'm going to go off and have a pee, and the machine pings you a message to say, I've encountered an issue, I've found an underground service that I wasn't expecting, what do you want me to do? And it doesn't get an instant response. What happens then? Is there a flex in the system that says, well, okay, humans do need to pop to the loo from time to time, or is it a case that the AI on board that machine will then ping a message to your boss to say, I needed an instant answer, and he'd buggered off for his lunch, or he'd buggered off to the loo? Is that beyond the realms as well? All of these things, I think, are entirely possible. And the more you look at the way that AI is being introduced, and this staggers me. Go back to the adoption of the internet. When the internet first arrived, I think we all looked at it the same as Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor. This was going to be a big thing. It was going to be a good thing. It was going to bring us all together and make us all closer as a world and as a society. And then, we got the dark web, we got pornography, we got scams and so on. It became lawless. It became the Wild West. AI, and with the internet, that probably took a decade. It took a decade for it to become as lawless as it turned out to be. AI has started in the Wild West. When you think about them riding roughshod over towns and villages in America to build data centers, to use up all their water, they're not playing by the rules. And as long as they're not playing by the rules that affect residents, are they going to play by the rules as they affect employees of demolition, construction, quarrying and mining companies? Or will their entire focus be on profit, productivity, and never mind the cost, even if that cost is human? And my concern, we've had this discussion before, if you are an overseer, I've operated a few of these systems, it's not a case of we're going to take you off that dozer and put you in a remote control pod where you're operating that dozer. What they actually do is take you off the dozer, put you in a pod, and you're now in control of the dozer, the grader, the dump truck, and quite possibly the excavator as well. So you're doing 4 lots of work. Now, admittedly, you're not necessarily pulling levers. You're there to manage. But up until now, individual people have been managing one machine. Managing 2 machines is going to be a challenge. 3, 4, an almost impossible task. And what gives when your time is so divided between monitoring what the excavator's doing, the dozer's doing, the fuel levels, the charging levels on electric machines. When you're monitoring all of that, just how much attention are you paying to safety? Do you have the time and do you have the ability to press a big red button that says, stop, what's going on there is inherently unsafe? I've not seen that yet. I've operated a dozer from Birmingham in the UK that was actually in Arizona. I've operated an excavator from Germany that was actually in South Korea. I've seen it. It's fantastic and it's marvelous. But not one of them has come, as far as I can tell, with a panic button. And ultimately, I think, we're talking here about professional people. We all know the inherent dangers of working on demolition construction sites. But human beings being human beings, what if all those machines fire up one morning, as they are expected to do? You've already determined that there are no workers within 100 metres of them, and some school kid or homeless person decides, I'm going to take a shortcut through this site. Now, you spot them. Is there a big red panic button for you to shut down the machines? Or do you just have to stand idly by while that person is potentially harmed? Dan says, like MV Kelly's, they penalise us for over-idle, i.e. 20 minutes a month allowed. And if your bucket is not in charging area, also fined. In changing area, rather, also fined. seems steep. I mean, I do remember when I was working for a big publishing company, they did have like a time and motion study come in to monitor us for brakes and stuff like that. And the biggest fallout from that, fun enough, was smoking brakes. And the biggest fallout was actually from the people that didn't smoke, because those that did smoke were sent off to smoking areas for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. And the rest of us had to carry the can. We were all working, beavering away while they were off having a quiet fag in a corner. It is a concern. It is a concern that people will be penalised. This is why every project manager needs a change manager who looks at business changes and builds the variables into the system on behalf of the users of that system. That, Andy, I agree with every single word. That to me sounds like the fluffy, pink, kitteny ideal world scenario. What we're talking about here is the hard-nosed and often ruthless and brutal world of demolition and construction. And one of the key drivers, I think, of anybody switching to AI, autonomy, remote control, will be long-term cost savings. And that long-term cost saving is a bit more long-term if you have to employ people specifically to get you from human operators to non-human operators. I don't see people doing that much. I think it will literally be a case of, we can save ourselves a few quid by going autonomous, bin the staff, let's go. Does the success or otherwise of AI depend on the strength enforcement of regulations? My initial answer to that is it should, but I think one of the things that Donald Trump's presidency has revealed, aside from the fact that there's an awful lot of really, really horrible people, not just in America, but in the world, but I think that one of the things that it's revealed, laid bare for the world to see, is just how corrupt and purchasable governments are. Look at the influence that Elon Musk had with Twitter or X. He has a fundamental interest in AI with Grok. He's funded Donald Trump and his election campaigns, not once but twice. He's planning to throw another 100 million into trying to get them through the midterms and everything else. And he has a vested interest. He's not doing that because he likes Donald Trump's new hair. He's doing it because he wants something in return. And he's not alone. Let's be absolutely honest. Jeff Bezos has an AI interest. He's pally with Donald Trump. Mark Zuckerberg at Meta or Facebook, he's very pally. And by their close association with the US government, those companies have circumnavigated the regulatory framework that America prided itself on. And I'm sat here pointing fingers, accusatory fingers at America, knowing full well that we would quite easily go down the same route. There remains, despite the fact that he's had a few setbacks and hopefully Count Bimface will give him another one, but there remains a very real possibility that Nigel Farage could wake up one day as the new resident of 10 Downing Street. He's already had 5 million quid coming through the back door. What's expected in return? And if it turns out in the run-up to the next election that he is likely to get the big job, will the AI firms here in the UK be tapping him up? Probably. Will he then get into power and say, we're shutting down all the data networks or the data centers and we are banning AI? Or will he do their bidding? Every likelihood he will do their bidding. So in answer to your question, Mick, the enforcement of regulations should control AI, autonomy, workers' rights in association with those. I fear they will not. And again, I'll go back to, because it's very recent memory, you think about how the internet went. It went from being this hippie ideal of bringing the entire world together on a single shared network where we could all communicate globally and it would be this utopian society. And then we had deep fake porn within a few years. And the internet, I think, started from a good place. I don't get the impression that AI has even bothered with starting from a good place. I think it started from an ambitious place, from a ruthless and brutal place, and anybody standing in its way will just be bulldozed. I think our only saving grace with AI is it will be hard to replace many of the people that watch this show. And I do wonder just how long the various AI companies can continue to make financial losses at the rate that they are. They may have market capitalizations in the tens or hundreds of billions, but very few of them are actually turning a buck yet. You can only do that for so long. Sooner or later, somebody is going to say, yeah, you may be worth 100 billion, but you can't turn a profit. Game over. Mick Norton says some employers will play by the rules, many won't. Again, I think we have that proven. You know, for all of the good, law-abiding, tax-paying, upstanding companies within this industry, there are those that deliberately and willfully put people in harm's way, that screw their nearest competitor, that, you know, are negligent, both of workers and local residents. Those people exist, and there's a lot of them. And if I genuinely think that there are some companies, if you said to some companies, we could do this better with AI, and in 10 years' time, you'll be basically working for, or your work costs, your operating costs will be virtually zero, but you'll have to sack all your workers. There'll be some that say, nope, this is like a family. You know, all of the workers are my friends. I'm not going to do that. But there will be some who won't even listen to the end of that sentence. That will be it. It'll be game over. Andy says, change management gets a bad rap. Correct policy and procedural design relies on the interface between the project goals and people who need to work in the post-project environment, and that includes AI. Again, I do wonder, and I do mean this in the nicest possible way. This is a fault with the industry, Andy, rather than you, and with change management. Change management, I think, is probably, to most companies in this industry, is probably a foreign language. I don't suppose most of them even know what it is, what it looks like, how much it costs, how you go about employing it. I genuinely don't think that's going to be a consideration at all. I really don't. And that idea of interface between the project goals, we've seen that with the mining earlier, and the people who will need to work in it post-project, I don't see it. I mean, here is my take on most demolition and construction companies' change management. If they waved a magic wand on Monday and put in place a new autonomous system, here's how the change management will run. You lot there, you're now answering to these machines. You lot over there, you're fired, but you lot over here, you're answerable to the machines. And if you don't like it, piss off. There you go. Change Management 101, Demolition Construction Industry 2026, brought to you by the Breakfast Show. That's, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, but that's how it will probably roll. Obviously, AI and the switch to autonomy is not going to happen overnight. This is not a thing that's going to be waving a magic wand on Monday. It's going to take a lot longer than that. There'll be a lot of work that needs to take place before that ever happens. But bearing in mind, we now have no unionisation in this industry. If a company decides to, and bearing in mind, this is already written. Alpha Beta published, must be 7-8 years ago, published a white paper that swore blind by 2050, UK construction sites would be human-free. And at no point were they talking about, oh, this is terribly sad and this is the impact it will have on people's livelihoods and their self-regard and you know, the meaning of their life. None of that. It will just be a case of this will be more efficient, this will be less costly, this is the way forward. That's the way they looked at it. And I'm not pointing fingers at Alpha Beta because they're all the bleeding same. Virtually every, particularly the tier ones. The tier ones are utterly ruthless. And if they thought they could get away with it, trust me, they absolutely would. Yesterday I photographed a skin condition ailment and fed it into AI. It produced a better diagnosis than my GP. I'm glad. I'm glad that is. I'm glad that's the case. But my wife is, bizarrely, I wouldn't describe her as a hypochondriac. She really isn't. But she is one of those people that is, if anybody mentions a symptom, like when I had my funny half hour at the cricket a couple of weeks ago, I came home, said, passed out, dehydrated. She went online and I had an aneurysm. I had a swollen brain. I had some kind of cancer, and always worst case. I think you need to know how to use AI. Fair play to you. Dan saying, have a fabulous holiday, Mark, and enjoy. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. I am going to pack my first bag in a moment, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Don't forget, I won't be back here until the beginning of September. So look after yourselves. Don't forget, there is a show tomorrow, not me involved. I'm literally not in the show at all. I do appear briefly, which will improve it no end. But I will be back early September. I will try and keep you posted. When I've got signal, i.e. when I'm on land, I will drop you a line or two over in the WhatsApp group. But until September, have a fine and splendid month. Look after yourselves. Don't do anything daft while I'm away. Thank you, Andy. Don't do anything daft. I'll have a quick count up in a minute to see how many of you are here right now. And I expect you all to be here when I get back. Not because we desperately need the audience, because I don't want anything to happen to you. The one person that gets a buy on this is Gary Muirhead, because Gary Muirhead is going away pretty much as I land. And Andy Thornton says, don't forget to book a holiday to get over the holiday. We're already talking about it. And Stephen Edwards says, enjoy your holiday. You too, my friend. Enjoy Cornwall. Are you going to Padstow? Are you going to Rick Stein's restaurant? If you are, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. The crab at Rick Stein's place. Listen, I know it gets I realise that they've renamed it Padstein, and I know he gets a bad press about prices and the cost of his fish and chips. And I take all of that on board. But the crab at Rick Stein's restaurant, oh my God. It's a once in a lifetime, Stefan. If you get a chance, make sure you do it. People, have a fine and splendid August. I'll see you in a while. Stefan says, thanks for the info. No problem at all. I'll see you all very, very soon-ish. Till then, have a good one.